Hi, everybody. Welcome to the ABS podcast, the Hoop Corner section, ABS Hoops. We're going to talk some trades in this episode, specifically and most importantly, trades that evolve kind of like the teams that are kind of silent, teams that are competitive, that are competing, teams that need to figure out, what more improvements they can do. I am with my co-host here, the one, the only, the blunted one. Allan is always a. I'm always glad that you're there. You kind of set me straight. You kind of take the BS out of the ABS podcast. So thank you very much.
I know, man. I always appreciate you having me on, man. For real, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, likewise, man. Well, let's have some fun. Now, let me premise this for those who are listening, for those who are watching. This is we have no sources. There's this is absolutely BS in a certain sense, but there could be some validity in terms of what's out there because if you've heard of us, you've seen that we talk a lot Lakers, we talk Laker focus and whatnot, but we like to also look at the NBA. Like we like to look at other teams. We don't like to only talk Lakers. We like to talk Dallas. We like to talk like the Cleveland Cavaliers, which dude, I just went there because that trade was out of the left field. And that's what spawned this episode because honestly, we don't know. Like people could say Lakers are going to go for Utah, Laker, Utah. And as fans, we can say, yes, do it. But honestly, sometimes things happen that are out of like nobody expects. And that's kind of like what we're going to discuss today. So now, Alan, here's the thing. Let's just list some of the teams. Uh, First off, what teams do you think are are kind of like the dark horse? You can say where they're silent. They haven't done any significant moves this offseason. They're competitive or have shown to be competitive in past seasons. So who do you think needs to do a trade? And just go ahead and tell me what you think, man. What teams out there that want to trade?
That want to trade, or do I think that need a trade?
Either or, I guess at this point. But yeah, let's just that who you think need a trade.
I think there's four teams out there right now that have been silent, that are dark horse, that really haven't done much, and that are competitive. Three of those teams, I think, are maybe one or two moves away from being, I guess, contending. Um, some people might cut my head for that, but uh, there's three. I
It's
think there's three teams out there, and there's a fourth one
yeah.
I don't think that needs it. And I will get into the fourth one a little bit later because it might throw you kind of out of like what? What do you mean? So
Yeah.
let's do the first three obvious that I think,
Okay.
in my opinion, the first three are going to be Miami, Dallas, and Phoenix.
Okay. I can see that.
They haven't. I mean, they've been kind of quiet. Dallas really hasn't made any moves. They picked up Christian Wood, which I'm still kind of trying to understand the fit. Um, but I don't know, man. I think it's gonna work. So I don't know. Christian Woods is interesting. I remember a bunch of Laker fans kind of wanted him to come down to look at the Twin Towers. You know, Twin Towers scenario. Twin Towers. I can't even say it. Twin Towers scenario. Um, Phoenix has been really quiet since the DeAndre Ayton thing. I think they've done a couple of signings. I might be wrong on that actually. I don't really follow Phoenix like that, but I they've been quiet since the DeAndre Ayton signing. So I know that I think they're trying to move Crowder. I think he was on mentioned as a as being on the trade block. And Miami's been kind of quiet too. I know they have a big lingering contract that sits on the bench that I'm pretty sure they want to get off of. And I think they want to either keep. They got to figure out if they're going to want to keep Hero or pay him. So, um, damn, I don't know. I just they're those three teams I think are maybe one or two couple moves away from maybe contending. They just got to figure out what their next step is and where they're trying to go. Those are and then my dark horse out there that I don't think that really needs any moves, but I think they can make one and kind of just out of the blues is the New Orleans Pelicans.
Ooh, did not see that one
So
coming.
yeah, so those are just the four that I can think off the top of my head that I think that are in the, I guess in the contending top challenge. I don't want to don't kill me for this, but um,
Yeah.
I think those are the four teams that are out there that I think that want to make a move, but they're just been very quiet. So we'll see what happens. Been kind of going over, um, kind of seeing what like who has draft picks, who has expiring contracts. I need to look into the Pelicans a little bit more. But what man, dude? What do you? I don't know. What do you think, dude? Like,
All right. Well. Here's the thing. The Pelicans one, I don't necessarily agree with it, but I don't disagree with them. Like it, they're in the position that they're gonna get Zion. They have Brandon Ingram. They have CJ McCollum. So they are they're they have a good roster. That's put it that's
yeah, they do have a good roster.
perspective. Like as of now, I don't know what needs they like what they need currently, because everything they do need they have in a certain sense. Like they have an Alvarado, they have Herbert or Hubert. I'm sorry if I'm mistaken the name. Sorry, I'm not reading from the screen. I just don't. I'm calling. I'm just going through my head. But honestly, I feel like that team
Herb
is,
Jones.
yeah,
That you're
Herb
about?
Jones. Herb Jones. Yeah, like I feel like that team has every position slotted where they're very competitive. Now, if there's a move to be made, that will be interesting to see what they do. When it comes to Dallas, Miami, what was the other one? Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix.
Phoenix. Yeah, those are. So Phoenix is the most interesting one because the only move they made was resign DeAndre Ayton, and that was without its drama and flair. With the whole, in Indiana offering like basically the max, or I think it's the max, the
Max
highest
off.
offer
Yeah,
sheet
yeah,
in history or something of the sorts. That I don't know the validity of that, but I know that it's humongous, and Phoenix just decided to go ahead. So other than that, and they actually lost McGee.
McGee.
So the only thing is, when I saw the roster, is that I saw Saric is still there. Saric, or is he still there?
Yeah, I believe he is actually.
If he's there, he was not healthy, and if he is healthy, I think you can argue that
Yeah,
McGee
he's still there. He's
leaving,
on an expiring actually.
yeah, with Biombo and him, don't I don't necessarily think that position is needed as much. However, you know, it's a loss. Like they stayed the same, if anything. Like
Yeah,
they really haven't
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I feel like they're
they
still a
haven't
move
really
away.
improved. Like we can say the Clippers, just by being healthy, they've gained a significant edge on everybody in the West in
Yeah, I
terms
just
of wing.
watched John Wall video, and he actually looks pretty pumped and ready to go.
Yeah,
So
Kendrick Nunn, if you're listening to this, Lakers need a hype video from you, buddy.
yeah, seriously.
Just yeah. Anyway, yeah, no, I agree. Now, my teams are actually the same as yours. The only difference is I have, rather than the Pelicans, I have the Knicks. And here's why, though. The Knicks, they kind of fumbled the ball. Now, for those Knicks fans that watch this, please comment below if I'm wrong or whatnot. But honestly, you kind of dodged the bullet in a certain sense. If you were going to go for RJ, you should have gone for RJ from the get go and just not hesitated or play with your food. But it is what it is, because honestly, I was never a fan of that. Just bring a star in order to attract more stars model. Like, you have talent now, just develop them and do it and do the right way. So that's great. However, they have a situation now. They're guard heavy, like ridiculously guard heavy. Um, and in my opinion, they need to figure out, they need to start moving some contracts in order, like, if they can move Randall so they can let OB be OB. If they can do some things where, it just opens up more developmental time and more of this.
Like a development.
Yeah, I feel like there's too many duplicate sets of skills here. Like
Yeah.
the rosters feel like, I feel like that trade or that 3-team trade that was being floated around, or that Utah to Knicks trade where you're sending out Evan Fournier, you're sending out some of the repetitive, because you got way too many shooting guards. So you should start, just getting rid of some of the contracts, and try to make it more so a more cohesive unit, and not more, and have more minutes on the young guys in order to develop, because you have talent. But if they're not on the floor, sorry, this is my Puerto Rican accent coming through, I guess. But you can't, you cannot develop them. So honestly, I don't know if you've gone through this, man. I've honestly, there's so many trade scenarios, but why? What trades can the teams that you've looked at could do? Like, pick one, and we can go through it, I guess.
So the one that interests me is Phoenix.
Phoenix, okay.
Phoenix to Utah, where they either get, I want to say, I don't know exactly what Phoenix is actually missing. I'm looking at their roster, and it seems like they're missing I would say a power forward.
A power forward.
Yeah, like
Let
they're
me
missing
see.
maybe maybe a Bojan, and I know this is gonna be. I know I just said power forward, but maybe a point guard, like a microwave shooter coming off the bench. I know I don't know if you're catching where I'm going with this.
I know. I kind
So
of have
maybe
the yeah,
Clarkson. I think
yeah,
Clarkson would be a good fit there. I even think maybe even Bojan might even be a good fit there too, because
yeah.
eh, there's a salary that matches with with Jay Crowder doing a straight up because I know Utah doesn't want to take up more roster spots. So if they do a 1-for-1 trade for Crowder and Clarkson, I think
Yeah.
there's a trade exception in there as well. Maybe like 3 million, something like that, because Jay Crowder makes less than
So
Clarkson.
let me see. I'm plugging in some of the numbers here, just to get a grasp as to what we're
Yeah, because
talking here.
I don't think
So
Clarkson makes much more than
so
Crowder does.
right now they I think Utah has a position where they want to be fun to watch, but not have long term salary there.
Yeah.
So their vet men's, or I mean not vet men's, but their veterans are probably on the block. So
Mhm.
that's Bojan, that's
Yeah, Bojan. It's going to be Bojan,
Clarkson,
Clarkson, Conley, Rudy
Reed,
Gay, and maybe the Minnesota guys that came in.
maybe
Beasley,
maybe
maybe Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt. Yeah, maybe
Vanderbilt's
Vanderbilt.
contract's kind of well. Hold on, what's he's getting like 6 or 5, right?
He's getting Vanderbilt's getting 4
Four.
actually.
Okay, so yeah, see, I'm saying he's a
Yeah.
movable contract,
Then you
not
have
much
Connolly
money.
as well.
Then you have Conley, which makes 22, then
Yeah.
24 the next, guaranteed 14. So I don't know. Conley's contract's going to be kind of hard to move. I know he's connected to the Lakers right now, I believe. Um,
True.
I don't know if they're like there's an interest. I'm not sure exactly why. Maybe they just begging bound or what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe they're bagging on Conley shooting from 40% behind the arc. I don't know. But back to the Suns because I digress. I feel like Bojan Bojan makes 19, so it's gonna. I feel like that's gonna be a little bit harder to actually plug into the Suns now that I even kind of think about it. Maybe they could do a combination of Crowder and Saric because those are both expiring, and maybe they can get back Clarkson and maybe Boyan. I know the salaries don't work, but I don't.
Oh wait, did they sign Damian Lee?
Yeah, so Damian Lee's on there, but he's on
Oh,
a he's on. I think they just signed him this. I don't know when they signed Damian Lee. I think was he there last year? Pretty
I
sure he
don't.
was there last year.
Was he though? Let me see.
I
There's
think he was,
um.
but they got him under the
Yeah,
vet
sorry. It's
minimum.
just people. Sorry, we're looking at some of the updated sheets, and since there's been a trade and whatnot, I don't know if and not Phoenix Suns. It's just there seems some of the things here don't make sense. So
Yeah.
I apologize if we're like we
Yeah, and then
again
the Suns
we
also have
yeah.
they have I don't have to tell you, they have a lot of picks. I know you can't trade like back-to-back picks, but they do have picks, and I think they're probably their most valuable ones will be like you kind of after like Devin Booker's off the team or something. So maybe 2027, they're probably offering the max, but we don't know where the Phoenix Suns are going to be in the next, I want to say 3 years. What does Chris Paul got left on his contract?
Chris Paul has currently 3 years, 28
Yeah, so where the next
mils.
3 years, we don't know where they're going to be, who's going to be on that team, or even if Devin Booker is going to be on that team. So I don't know,
I
man.
mean, yeah,
I think some of their picks are valuable because the Suns are kind of relevant now, and they've been relevant in the past. But I think they were kind of like the Lakers. You know, the Lakers were irrelevant for no, I don't want to say irrelevant, but they weren't winning any games for X amount of years, and I think the Suns were kind of right there with them, kind of around the same time, I guess you can say. And then they're really good right now, along with the Lakers. They're doing pretty good. So I mean, um, I
yeah.
could see a scenario where they trade up a pick,
Mhm.
maybe Crowder for Clarkson straight up. Like I just it kind of
Mm.
just makes sense
The
because
problem, yeah, and no, I didn't want to cut you off, but also just so you understand where this also makes it difficult is Utah currently has a 17, like they have
yeah,
17 spots.
it's a 1-for-1 straight up.
Yes, so they would have to do and what was the trade that
It,
you were thinking of? Like it
Clarkson and
was
Crowder,
Clarkson and
or
Crowder. Okay.
yeah, Clarkson and Crowder, or actually Bojan and Clarkson, and
See
then
the
but
problem is
the
that
money
then
doesn't work, so I would have to.
yeah.
So like that's what makes it hard, and I agree. Like I totally agree with you, but you can do the 1-for-1, and they're gonna get a discount off Clarkson,
No,
which
yeah.
they're gonna save
So
$3 million on that trade. So I mean that brings their books down just a little bit.
yeah, and also
They just buy out.
yeah.
They could just buy out. What's his name too? On top of that, so they could buy out Utah. I mean Utah. Excuse me, Crowder. I'm talking.
By Utah.
Yeah, they could buy out Crowder.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of a dark horse trade, but it is possible. Is all I'm trying to say.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Or not?
Bojan
Yeah, not
Bojan
Boyan.
is.
Or can they get a 9 million trade exception? If they can,
Let
they
me
can do that
see.
too.
Let me see. I'll tell you now.
They
Like
could
they
do a straight
did.
up trade, I believe, for Crowder. I mean Crowder for Clarkson or for Bojan, and include a pick in there.
Bojan. Where are you, Bojan? Here we go,
That's
Bojan.
Danny Ainge you're dealing with. It. You give him a pick, I'm sure he'll
Yeah.
jump to it.
The Suns are over the luxury threshold with this trade. Incoming aggregate is exceeds the 125%. So yeah, they would need to
So
cut
they
six
well,
thousand or add 6,000. That's the thing. So here's the thing: they don't
but you just did a Bojan and
Crowder.
Crowder.
Yeah.
What about Clarkson? Do a straight trade with Clarkson
If I add Clarkson
and just
here,
take out Bojan. I think they could do that. Because think about it, who is Phoenix is missing? Phoenix is missing a microwave shooter off the bench.
yeah,
Shaman
they
didn't
need
do
to
any good.
cut.
They
They need to
need
cut 500,000, which they can make the math work just adding a player or just paying it in money, I guess, or something like that. I think they
for
can make. Yeah.
who needs to add money.
So the Phoenix, it's not a valid trade because Phoenix is over the
Is that
threshold.
over the
So,
threshold?
but here's the thing: like, there's a situation in Phoenix that they have to figure out because right now, who is it? Yeah, Cam Johnson or
Yeah, Cam Johnson two's on an expiring too.
he's under. Yeah,
So
Cameron Johnson
they're
is
gonna either want like they have to figure out if they're gonna want to pay him. I was gonna jump.
exactly
You jumped to me. You actually beat me to it. So I was actually gonna bring that up
my
next.
my yeah. Go
My
ahead, man.
my
Yeah,
camera's zooming out over here.
it's
It's
too bright.
blurry.
It's too bright.
Yeah, it's too bright. Let me. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. There it goes.
For those
Technical
who are listening, there you
live. Are we live?
just imagine a blurry Allen. That's
Yeah,
all. That's all it
I'm
is.
not
Yeah.
blurry anymore. I'm not anymore. But yeah, they. I mean, that was the next point that I was gonna make. And two Cameron Payne 2 is expiring next year. So I mean, Cameron Johnson's also about to be expiring, so they got to figure out if they're going to want to pay either of these guys. Torrey Craig is also on and expiring, so like they got to figure out if they're going to pay excuse me, not paying Johnson. They got to figure out what they're going to do with Crowder, if they want to trade him or not. I think I just feel like there is a move to be made there. It's just not as it's difficult, but it's not as difficult as people think. Is all I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that it can't be done. I'm saying that it can be, and that there's something there, and that it's a little bit easier than people think.
Yeah, I agree. It's
So
just that's
I just
that's
don't
the
want to
problem.
throw out, because I've seen people say, like, well, there's no trade packages out there for any of the teams because of salary cap and this and that. Well, we literally just watched one of the most out of nowhere trades in the NBA right now. So at this point, what makes me not think that Jay Crowder can't go to Utah and Utah buys him out, and
Yeah,
then Clarkson ends up over there. So I know, like I said, I know some of the money and the math is not correctly all there, but it can't. There's something that can be done.
true. Yeah,
Because would you
I
say how
agree.
much was it? Like a 500,000 difference?
500,000. Yeah, there's depending on the scenario, there's 500,000.
Well, they
Here's the
can.
thing: they probably cut a player. They could probably waive a player. They can
Yeah,
do a lot of things to
yeah.
make the
You
math
talking,
work.
or who would need to cut? Suns, right?
Suns
Yeah,
would
they
need
got
to do it because
they can, like,
the
they got Josh Okogie right there. They can just waive him,
yeah. I mean
and
they
that's
can
$1
do it.
million. So I'm just saying, like, it's possible.
Yeah.
So
No,
the
it's and here's and just for everybody to
yeah,
understand, we
I'm
don't
not a fucking
nobody
NBA
like
like
we are not NBA
sources
analysts or shit like
analyst
that.
or
We are
anything like that. Nope, 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 nope,
we
nope,
are
nope, nope.
we're just speculating here in terms
Yeah,
of
just speculating,
and
just
and
looking
also
at
like
roster constructions and what
yeah,
teams are missing and what we think, at least in our opinion, what they think they're missing. And I honestly think the Suns are missing a shooter off the bench, and there's no one else better out there in the market right now than Jordan Clarkson for that job. So there's a
well
market for
yeah.
him.
Yeah. No,
There's
yeah, I
definitely a
mean
market for Clarkson and Bojan too. There's a market. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I've heard that there's a market for Conley. So it's
yeah.
it's
Conley
I
Conley Conley
don't
there's
yeah
a market for him.
Conley's
It's
there's a
just
market
his
for him. His
contract.
contract makes it really really hard to move. So
Not that hard. Just it's this thing where the player and the contract, kind of like a Westbrook, where if Westbrook kind of made
contract who's okay?
an
So who's easier to
MLE
move? Who would be easier to move in your opinion, Conley or Westbrook?
currently with their contracts, Conley all day.
You think he's easier?
Yeah.
So why hasn't he got picked up yet then?
Uh, Tell that to the Lakers. I don't know, but
I'm
anyway,
just saying,
uh,
cough,
yeah.
cough.
Well, it's just
I'm just
there's a
playing.
market for him, but it's just if he
His
gets bought
contract
out or
his
something like that.
contract is not easy to move. There's not a lot of teams out there that are willing to take on 22 million for a 37-year-old that gets bumped by a coffee table and
Well,
then
what?
he's hurt
So
for
what
the
is it?
half the
37
season.
million guaranteed because
Huh?
that's the
Yeah.
wording. It's
The
37 million getting
30 yeah,
guaranteed.
37 million guaranteed. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
yeah.
Well,
It's
on the other
this
case of Russ's contract,
expiring.
it's an expiring contract. Like, I think
True.
that's a little bit easier to move.
The
I
yeah. The problem is the return.
Yeah,
That's all it is. Yeah.
that's the problem. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you. I'm
No,
not
no,
trying to cut you
we're
off.
cutting each other off. I apologize, people. We're trying to do this episode a bit more, not two
Debatable, I
hours or
guess.
three or a
Yeah.
little bit debatable. We try to add some structure to this, but honestly, we have thoughts, we gather it, we DM each other, and then we're like, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's just record and dialogue through it. But I agree with Alan that there is some roster construction that needs to not roster construction because honestly, the players that they have, they're good. Like when you look at it, they are a good team. There's nothing wrong with the Suns. It's just everybody is improving, and they
Yeah.
need
And
an
then they have Landry
improvement.
Shaman coming off the bench.
Exactly, and Chapman is a bucket in certain sense in terms of 3-point shot and whatnot. But if you need I think they're better served getting Bojan.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they're better served because
See
technically
that?
it's Shaman and Clarkson kind of have the same duplicity in terms of they are there for scoring purposes, not technically for their defensive prowess. So it's more of a duplicity thing that they would have if they add Clarkson, but you can never have enough power
You
forwards
know
like
what?
Bojan.
There are, but the see that's the thing though. It's like I started with they need a power forward because they do. They only have one.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like they need to.
They only have one power forward, and Bojan would probably fit that system perfectly.
Yep.
The only problem is that he's making 19 million. So who are the and they would have to match that with probably two players,
The problem is like they would
and
need
Utah
to
can take
add
in two more players.
exactly
That's the
with being
problem.
hard
They
capped.
can't
They
do a two
are
for one. They can't do two for one. It
yeah
has to be straight up with Phoenix. That's what makes it difficult. Is that it
yeah.
has to be a one for one, and then matching those salaries. It's easier with Clarkson than it is with Bojan, and that's why I think. But that's why I come up with the conclusion of Clarkson.
That's why the Lakers and Utah, everybody are rumored that they're talking that makes more sense because you have 47 million in expiring contract where that you can add a couple of players to that contract and you can the Lakers can get up to 58 million or something like that back. So honestly, it's a more easier path to get rid of contracts for Utah if you were thinking of Utah. And also the draft capital from the Lakers it's a lot more enticing than
Yeah,
whatever Phoenix has to offer, in my
I think
opinion.
ours probably maybe lottery picks.
Hmm. They
They'd be
may
in the
be.
lottery, maybe. Who knows?
They may be. So all right, so we talk enough about
Yeah,
Phoenix.
no more
Let's
Phoenix talk.
let's move. Yeah, let's move ahead. Good luck, Phoenix fans. I hope
Yeah, I hope
you
you guys are the best.
I hope you guys the best. Anyway, and
We'll
now
see. We'll see you in Game 7.
we're
No, I'm
trying to
just like,
be unbiased here, so
we'll
bear
see.
with us. The other team would be Dallas. Dallas, like you said, only Christian Wood. They have currently in their roster. Let me take just a gander because I was looking at their roster, and currently
Yeah, I have their roster too pulled up.
they have Finney Smith on the 4-year contract. They have Bertans on the 3-year. They have Hardaway on
His
a
last year is
3-year.
an option, right?
I haven't looked, but maybe.
I think his last year is an option.
Then you have here's the interesting. You got Kleba at 9 million
Mm-hmm.
expiring, and then you
Expiring.
have Powell at
He's expiring too.
yep. You know what this team needs? And here's my trade scenario, and I don't know if you agree with me. They don't need nothing that Utah has to offer. Because everybody here shoots except I think Powell. I think doesn't like he's more of a rim runner maybe.
They're missing a point. They're missing a point guard. I think too.
Are they? They have
They got Dinwiddie. I mean,
they have
yeah, but
Dinwiddie.
Dinwiddie's at the 2.
They have
They put him at the 2.
Dinwiddie.
I think they play him at the 2, and then they have Tim Hardaway Jr. So he'll be back next year.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What
And
is
then they
he?
got
Is
Frank.
Luca listed as a point guard?
Yeah, he's listed as a point guard.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
All of
but
that 230 pounds. Jesus.
you got. So I mean, that's the thing though. Like, who's your point guard coming off the bench? Spencer Dinwiddie, I
Well,
guess. But like,
they don't have. See this
they don't. What else do they don't have? I guess they don't have another center.
the mat. Okay,
Yeah, they're not. They're
here's
missing a center.
here's the problem when you look at Utah and you look at who they have. They have a lot of
Yeah, they got point guards.
they they have point guards. They have power forwards. They have they have small forwards. They have shooting guards. And here's the thing with all of this. When I keep on looking at this roster that Danny Age is building in a certain sense to have fun. Um, they have Sexton, they have Markkinen. Like the tradable contracts that Dallas has is, let me take a look quickly before this. Okay, is Powell, Kleba, and you can say Bertans is not needed, I guess, to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So if you want to get rid of Bertans, that's 16. So they have salary to move out. They
But
probably
we
could.
but we reach into that same problem.
Yep.
If they were trading with Utah, you can't
Yep.
trade 3 for 1 or 2 for 1. It has to be probably a one
Hmm.
for one because Utah's not gonna. They already have the problem of getting. They have to get rid of players. So
Yeah, but let's say if I do this, let me do this quickly because I always had this thought if they do it, that would be interesting. If they send out Bertans and they shoot
Leva,
for they shoot for Clarkson.
what you could
Yeah,
do, I think you could do
that works.
But I think you trade Bertans to Clarkson straight up. I think even that works.
Yeah, Bertans Clarkson works, and maybe if you want Bogey, that Bogey works as well. So Bertans
Just
would
just
be,
just for Bertans.
yep,
Yeah, and they'd be getting a discount too. So,
yep.
and I'm sure there'd be a trade exception in there somewhere. I think
For
for
the
Boogie. Yep,
Utah, yeah,
yep, yep,
yeah,
yep.
because Dallas would be 18-19, which they have.
So
Yeah, it's if the draft capital. We were looking at this before,
yeah, I think
and
they have three. I think they
apologize.
have three.
Yeah, apologize if we don't. They have two or three, which are interesting. So yeah, and just to wrap up a bit about Dallas, because honestly, I don't want to go too in depth on Dallas because honestly,
Yeah, because we went in depth with Phoenix.
we sorry, I apologize, people.
No,
We're figuring things out. We only started this thing like a month ago, so kudos. Hey, 1 month anniversary! Yay! All right, that's thank you guys for watching. The or listening. The one thing with Dallas would be is they have McGee now, so center wise, they're kind of good. They have Powell, they have Kleba. I wouldn't trade those assets, but Bertan seems to be
odd man
like
out.
yeah. Like unless Dallas fans, please comment below, or if you have a contrary opinion, please let me know. But honestly, that would be great. Like just get Bojan and put a lot of picks there. The problem is those picks really good? I don't know because they have to be probably two
I feel like Dallas
for
is going to
Bojan.
be. I feel like Dallas is going to be competitive for many years to come with Luke on the team. So I don't think those picks are going to be highly valued because
That's the thing.
that's the problem. Yeah,
And that's the problem when we really look at this. The Bertans contract is you're asking Utah to eat contract,
to
which
eat, yeah, to
they're
take
not
on
really,
salary.
and they I don't think
I
they're
don't think they
interested in
can.
it.
Yeah, I don't think they're interested on taking salary, but I think if it helps them get off of more salary, like if it, let's just say Dallas is only sending out Bertans and Dallas is willing to take on Clarkson and Boyan and go over or pay the luxury tax. And then what would there be? There'd probably be an exception in there for Dallas, I'm assuming, right? Because that's a big, those are
Utah,
huge.
I think.
Utah would get that exception, right?
Yeah, because
Or
Bertans per he
because
has more guaranteed money. However, it's I think Bertans makes only I have it around here.
16
Excuse
million.
me. He only makes 16 million. So yeah, like 60 million to 19 million. You
How much
know,
is that together
probably
combined?
it's probably like three point
I
five
wonder if that
million.
would work. I'm gonna I'm gonna go plug that in the trade machine real quick.
No, it does. It does.
It
I
does
did.
work.
Yeah.
Both of them going out.
Wait, who up? Sorry.
Clarkson and Bogey
Oh, give me a second. I can do it
for
right.
Bertans. I know the money. I know there's some. Like, is it too much money going out?
Yeah, that's way too much money. Yeah, that's way too much money. But if you can, the thing is, if you can add, let's say, you want to sacrifice Powell because now you have McGee. Let's say,
Would that work?
then it works. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. So, like, I know these trades are hard and the scenarios are really hard, but they work.
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
thing, is they're plausible. So
There is a potential
there's a
possibility.
potential possibility of those trades.
Yeah. The question would be for Utah is do they want this?
Yeah. Do they want to eat more salary,
Or
or
do
did
they
they want to eat?
exactly?
Yeah, did they want to eat more salary for extended years? Which I don't know. They're in a rebuild mode, so who knows at this point what they want to do or what like
Exactly.
because they didn't trade with the Knicks when the all signs pointed like we're trading with the Knicks, and it just didn't happen. And that might
Yep.
be cough cough Leon Rose cough cough CAA if I can uh, problem, but
I didn't know that until last night. So
yeah.
yeah, you learn things every day. But
I've heard
yeah,
of CAA, but I didn't know about all that. So shout out to Guru for
that
teaching us that
yeah,
shit for
that's
real.
probably we'll probably do another episode on that. But yeah, Dallas, they need to make a move because right now I think they're projected to be seventh or something like that. The West is loaded. So
West is loaded.
and for those who comment, yeah, the Lakers are probably lower than Dallas. Who knows? Or probably higher. I don't know. Nobody. I don't know.
It's gonna be
But
super interesting, man. And we're gonna go on to
yeah,
this last final team here, and I'm gonna let
go
you
for
take
it.
this one because I know this is kind. I know you've been looking into this one a little bit more than I have. So
Which
Miami,
one?
talk to me about it.
Miami. So Miami actually, like, when I look at this roster, what screams is they really do miss PJ. Like PJ Tucker.
Yeah, dude, PJ
They you know
Tucker.
they
That a Boyan trade?
that this is the team that needs Bojan, in my opinion. This is the team that I think, looking at the market, looking at what they're what's out there. This is what it's not that it propels them to contender, nothing like that. Don't get the words wrong. It's just it
Tony
completes
said it,
the team.
guys. We got it on recording.
And I also have a dark a dark team that probably may converse with the Heat, and that would be the Pacers as well.
Oh,
Yeah, because here's another thing I think is, other than, like, they have Bam as a center, right? And Bam has this thing where he's, I don't know, like, he's technically a power forward, but he plays center minutes, whatnot. I feel like it's kind of like the same AD situation where you need him to be more freely into his position and not force him to be a center.
yeah.
And if you, let's say, if by any chance Miami can get not both, but one of, like, a Miles or a Bojan, that would greatly help, because basically you pair Bojan with Bam. I think that's a very dynamic back. Like, that's a front. That's nice, because you basically, they can stretch, they can shoot threes, um, and Bam can work down low. So I like that. I like that for Miami, and they need it because right now they have no real power forwards. They're missing forwards, really. Like, that team's missing size of that. Like, PJ kind of filled the void, but now that it's no longer there, they haven't replaced it. So I'm looking for them to be very aggressive
For Boyan.
for Bojan. The problem with Miami is, and we've said it before. I don't
There's
think
a
they have
go ahead.
shit. They have shit for drafts, man. Like, we were looking at it.
They have
Like,
one, and they have shit for draft, and they have a shit for fucking contract on one person. They're one trade asset that would have been probably good a year ago, maybe even two, and he's just sitting on the bench making podcasts.
yeah, Duncan Robinson.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I wasn't gonna name any names, but
I'll
there's
name
open.
him because, hey, this is the BS. Who knows? I could be talking about Draymond, but he's not
Yeah.
in this team. So anyway, um,
Fucking Duncan. I don't know, dude. That has to be a really bad contract now. Looking at it, so
here's the thing:
for
that
Miami,
contract is only, like, let's assume he has
I guess it's
another
only
season
bad.
that he's 40 plus 3-point shot. If
Oh,
he's
okay.
30
Well,
plus 3-point shot, then the contract has value.
value. Yeah.
It's just he needs,
But he's on
because
the bench, so it's like
because
we
he
can't
can't defend. He can't
yeah,
defend.
he
That's
can't
the problem.
defend.
If he can defend, but at this stage, I don't think he's gonna. So he has to have such an offensive threat that every defensive liability kind of it's the offense outweighs the defensive liabilities. But right now, it's more that defensive liabilities outweigh his offense. So if he can figure it out, Miami could rehab his value. Or I don't know, maybe Danny H wants to take that contract and be like, you know what? I see a diamond in the rough. I want to rehab your value and have you in a pedestal. I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know what Danny H is talking about. We're looking at it through the fans' perspective here. So we see a potential. We see a need, especially for Miami. Like they were against the Lakers 2020. They haven't been on the finals since then. So and they've been close. They've been
They're
what
hungry.
was it? They've been like they won 7 games with Boston recently, and they fell short. A Bojan trade may be the thing they need.
Yeah.
Other than a point guard, I don't think a Conley would work in this team. I think they've already had their fill with veteran guards.
Oh yeah.
But with
I don't think
Lowry,
Clarkson or Conley fit
exactly, it
their
wouldn't fit
needs.
here.
Yeah.
I honestly think a Bojan, like if there's a team out there, like we talked Suns, we talked Dallas, Miami is the team that needs Bojan. You know,
Yeah.
high
I
five
have
to you too.
a
High five to
I'm
you
blurry right
too.
now. I have a
Yeah,
trade scenario for you actually now.
sure. Go ahead.
Is there or not a trade scenario, just more of a question. Is there a way, and I know they don't need it. And I'm gonna just it's just kind of a BS
Sure,
question. I'm gonna
sure.
just throw it out there. Is there a possibility or scenario that Pacers and Utah make some discussions for Bojan?
Why?
I,
Why?
maybe they're trying to offload salary. I don't know. Maybe Buddy can go over there. I don't know. It's just a BS question.
It is that's a segment. The BS question. BS question time.
BS question of the day: Is there a scenario where Pacers and Utah make a trade?
If it happens, I'll record something, put it on Twitter, put it on YouTube, and be like, "It happened. I eat my words. Allan is 4 for 0, or
And here's
whatever."
another. And here's one more.
Which is the next one.
Dallas goes. Dallas retains Buddy Healed.
Dallas is crazy enough to do it.
I don't know.
Dallas is Dallas is
Yeah, I
crazy enough to do it.
believe. I don't. Okay, never mind.
It doesn't. Okay, it doesn't fit, but I believe it. Does that make sense? Like, here's the thing: that like Luca needs shooting. They just need shooting, 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 defense, 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 shooting, 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 defense, defense, defense. Hill doesn't provide that defense, but provides a shooting. So
Shooting.
I don't know about that
Get space the floor for Luca.
exactly, and I don't know. It could be a thing.
Just a thought. It's just a thought.
Yeah, I mean that was floating around Twitter, I think. So I don't know. I want to talk about the Knicks just quickly, and I do think the Knicks have to move someone. They have Evan Fournier, they have Randall. I doubt they move Randall because that contract. If we were talking about Duncan Robinson being stinky contract, that's probably
Another
you
one.
know if you're hearing this from LA, you probably smell it. It's that bad, and it's only bad if he performs even worse this season, or it's not. You're asking a team to take a risk. That's the thing, and I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if you have like Knicks Pacers or something of that iteration, or something of like Miami Knicks, or I don't know, some weirdness. Because honestly, I feel like the next trade,
It's gonna
being
be
not a Laker, is probably going to be a weird team, a
out of
French
nowhere.
team trying to get better, because the East is loaded technically when you look at it. And now that the Cavs got Donovan Mitchell, it's very loaded. And
The
you look
West.
at Miami, you look at the West, you look at there's teams that are gonna pull the trigger here. And
Mhm.
I feel like the, if we talk about assets, Dallas probably has more draft assets to
What?
ship out.
I have another dark horse.
Oh boy,
I just thought about it right now.
just send it.
What about the
Just send it.
Wizards? They haven't done much
Here's,
either.
here's the thing with the Wizards: if they do a move, they do a move without knowing if they need it.
Okay.
That's the thing, because they haven't had Avery Bradley Bradley Beal. That's a
Paper
season.
bag. Bradley Beal.
Bradley Beal. I apologize, Bradley Beal. Yeah, sorry. Oh my God, why? Anyway, let me take a moment because that was a mental beep. Anyway, yeah. So you got Bradley Beal, and he's never played with Porzingis, if I'm not mistaken, because he was out technically before, like even before
Yeah, yeah, he was out. Yeah,
the trade. So you don't know what a Porzingis, Kuzma,
Bradley
there's
Beal look like.
Bradley Beal look like, and also like they kind of unloaded some of the some of their forwards and some of like because they have a lot of repetitive like Rui or Hayamura. I think they need to figure out what they're gonna do with him. He's an interesting he's interesting player, but I don't know if he needs to move from DC to be better at some other place. So yeah, they could be a dark horse. That's the thing. Like right now, the Wizards are predicted to be a playing team or worse. So honestly, it's at this stage they may be a dark horse, but is any move worth them? They don't know. If anything, you know what they are is if they're close to being a playoff team, they're probably going to make a trade deadline move. That's how I view the Wizards. Like if they figure out like we're missing a point guard, let's take a shot at Conley. They probably could take a shot at Conley. I don't know. I haven't looked at their roster if I'm being honest. So
No, I'm just throwing BS out there.
well, this is the BS podcast. So
Yeah.
hey, also just wanted to say something while we end this, and I'm gonna end this in this note. I don't. This offseason has been such a weird thing. Like it's been so weird. We created a podcast out of it. That's how weird it is. Like I don't know what to expect in terms of trades. Now I will say is if the status quo stays, there's gonna be some teams that are gonna hurt. Dallas right now is in a position where they're gonna be not a top five team. They're not a top five team unless you have playoff Luca each and every game, and you can't have that because God forbid, you don't want him to get injured or to get burned out. So they need to get better. Suns, they have to figure out their mental aspects. Their some of the things
That
the
went down
things
in the
that happens.
playoffs.
Yeah, the things that happen on the playoffs. That could be a team, in my opinion, that could be a number one team in the season next season, just because they're that good when everybody's on the same.
Page.
Yeah, exactly. So if things are moving, clicking for them, they can figure it out. Miami, on the other hand, if they don't make a move, we are looking at probably top five, top six, top seven. And that's not good enough to go to the finals or win a chip because I feel like that team wants to win a chip. And they're
They're hungry.
banking way too much on Victor Oladipo. Like he's a great asset, but he's not the key to be like we're gonna be a contender now. Like, and that's the thing. All of these teams they want to be a contender. So what moves they do, we don't know. And just briefly talking Lakers, it's Sunday when this recording, September 4th, 2022. So nothing so far. So
You said that's so sad.
I yeah, I mean we've
Oh
we we've
man.
indulged in alcohol and other types of beverages to get through this off season. So I don't if I'm being honest for those who are listening, I don't think the Lakers are gonna make a move. And if they do, I'll be pleasantly surprised. But I'm prepared for the worst and hope for the best. That's my motto for this next few weeks because honestly, right now at this
We're the best. That's where we're at right now, guys.
it is. Am I wrong, Allan?
No, you're not. We got to end on this, man. Prepare for the worst and hope for the best, guys.
Yeah, but anyway, thank you all for listening, watching.
Oh man.
Also, just a cheap plug, but for those who are still listening to us, we also have the cafeteria room. That's gonna be there's gonna be some more episodes coming out. The link
Oh
is
yeah, for
below in
sure.
Apple Podcasts. We're gonna soon have that in Spotify and YouTube as well. But
Yeah.
please share like, follow us. If you don't like the content, there is a dislike button so we can know what
Or you can
not to
leave a
do.
comment too.
Or you can leave a nasty comment, especially to Allan, you know. But anyway, thank you all for listening or watching. Have a good the rest of your week.
Peace.
Goodbye. Peace.